So we've got a day ahead of us. Got to bring this agility scooter back to its owner. Charged the battery last night. Pop that back in and head over to this guy's house and drop it back off. So this guy's happy as a clam, but I've got a heck of a drive ahead of me today. We've got about 3 hours up to Maine. We've got to stop off and grab a motor up at a guy named Wayne's house that pulled it out of my friend CJ McLaughlin's late model Act car. And it's pretty tired, so we're bringing it up to Redline in Maine and let them rebuild it and get it back up to snuff. Well, we're here at Wayne's house. We just talked to him. He's up at his other shop, but our motor is right here. So he's got her all set up on a stand for us. I'm gonna load it up in the back of the truck, and yeah, I guess Wayne had a problem with this bolt on the flywheel right here. Couldn't get it off. He needs a special socket. Carburetor's loose on it. Put that in the cab. Guess we're not going to be using that one because it's junk. So. Wish I had more than 2 straps. I really thought I had another one. Carb should be fine back there. We don't need it anyways. But yeah, she's pretty solid. I don't think we're gonna have an issue here. Just take it slow. Okay, pissing coolant all over my bed is what it is. Well, let's hit the road. We got a long way ahead of us. Hopefully it doesn't tip over. I mean, this isn't the first time this truck has had a V8 in it. It came stock with a V8. So this trip is a bit of a favor. CJ and I swap favors all the time. But this one's definitely a big one because it's a whole day of travel. But this motor really needs a rebuild. CJ was saying that it didn't have the power that he needed when he was running it last at Thompson. I told him, you know, maybe I'm going to take up the slack in the throttle cable, but on further review, it's only running on 7 cylinders, so my theory was wrong. For those of you that don't know CJ McLaughlin, he's a New England race car driver. Started very, very young with his father. In college, when we really started hanging out, he used a little bit of his student loan money to go out and buy a classic light car. Ran that for quite a while, and he's always been saying he wanted to be a NASCAR driver, which I thought was kind of crazy, but if it's anything I've learned about this kid is he just doesn't take no for an answer. He's been out there banging down doors and finally landed himself a sponsorship with a company called SciAps. They make handheld analyzers that test anything from metal to soil, and they do it faster than products that are on the market. They're not handheld. I actually had the opportunity to be shown a couple of their products and how they work, and it was nothing like I've ever seen before. To essentially hold a gun up to a hunk of steel and, you know, have it pop up on the screen that it's 1018 with its exact makeup was something else. CJ and SciAps are mutually excited. February 9th, tune in, Fox Sports 1. He's running the Lucas Oil 200 presented by General Tire. Make sure you tune in. Well, finally, we've made it to Redline. We're going to go in, let them know what the motor's here, I've never been to this shop, so excited to see what it's all about. So I went inside and got hooked up with Joe. He showed me a little bit around the shop. Joe's been working on motors for over 20 years, so he's has quite a bit of experience under his belt. We're definitely excited to have him rebuild this thing for us. Joe was gracious enough to let me take some footage around his shop, and just wanted to show you guys the inside. It's pretty impressive. They're doing a lot of work over here, from V8 stuff to heavy equipment stuff. They're just making things fresh again. So as we walk around, you'll see a lot of their machines off to the left over here: sandblasting cabinet, lathes, milling machines. A lot of containers for holding on to parts. Every nut and bolt you could ever imagine. Pretty much my dream there. They've got some stations set up, individual work bays. So a lot of motors laying on the ground over here. Joe said that they're all completed already, so that's pretty cool. Like I said, they're pumping quite a bit of motors out of here. It's what they do, is get stuff fresh again. So and in the back over here, they've got a separate room for their dyno, for their motor dynos. That was pretty cool. I couldn't find the light in the actual motor dyno spot, but I found that one, so hopefully it's bright enough. A lot of engine stands in here, and there she is, the motor dyno herself. So pretty cool. I'm really glad that Joe let me get some footage inside of here. Some folks are a little bit kind of secretive of their place of work, but these guys, real stand-up guys, and like I said, very excited to have a guy with over 20 years under his belt rebuild this motor for us. That way it runs well this year, and hopefully propels CJ to a few wins. Just like that, it's time to turn around and go back to Massachusetts. Hopefully this old girl will get us home. Well, there's Boston. Looks like 3 hours later, we're home. If you enjoyed this little road trip, what are you doing? Like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and I'll be on another road trip soon. But I think until then, I'll be sitting in quite a bit of this Boston traffic.